here can appreciate what you just said. I know I can. Every time I hear rain like that, if I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, I get up and I wonder if I got to start running a second pump or get over to my parents' house. What I believe to be a poor decision by a city council back in 1989 built a house on a 60-foot or 55-foot lot next to my house in a neighborhood that requires 100-foot lots in what was a storm swale. My house was fine for 30 years, and after 89, that was when the guy I bought it from said, that's when the foundation started cracking. I've spent over $1,000 to slow the water from coming down, coming into the cracks. I have mud jacking ahead of me. Water fills in the yard, comes down the basement stairs outside. It's in the I know I have water in there right now, and I'm here. I can't do anything about it. So I do appreciate it. I mean, I do. And if I felt Alderman Lewitton was correct that we should move forward with the $12,000, the lowest amount here, I would make that motion to do that. It's only $12,000, but I know that that's not going to do anything. I mean, the report even says it's the least expensive, but only marginal improvement will be achieved. 12,000 is pointless. You have all seen how bad this gets. Slightly regrading for $12,000, I really don't believe is going to fix anything, and I'm not particularly willing to pull the trigger on. I mean, I think it's probably it may be the most expensive one, might be the best chance of actually fixing this. So, I mean, with that in mind, and with my utmost sympathy and wanting to move forward with this, I want to make a motion, and if it fails, it fails, but I want to make a motion that we continue to direct staff to investigate what can be done to alleviate, even at a temporary manner, the sanitary issue, and that we table a final decision on which of these plans to move forward with until we have a solid feel for how the budget's going to work out over the next, hopefully just over the next few weeks. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion on the floor. I have a second. Any question? Alderman Lewitton.
I said this before Valerie spoke, and I'll say it again. The money from the state is an asset to the city. We do not have $1 million deficit. We have $1 million cash flow deficit. I would be willing to take the best plan that's available and transfer that money against the deficit, against the IOUs. Replace the cash with the IOUs, take care of the problem, and tomorrow we'll go on to the next problem with the next person. This one is advanced to the point where we've already spent more than the average person makes in a year. Now, why can't we finish it?
Any other questions? Alderman Short.
The difficulty, Alderman Lewitton, is that engineers have looked at our city and said that if they took $20 million and put it into working on the flooding problems, they would not solve all the problems. My ward, which you think nobody hears about, I get calls routinely on basements flooding as well. It's a long story. Homes were put where they didn't belong. People have been filling in swales where it worked before and it doesn't work anymore. The answers are far gone. The lawyer has sent us a letter showing that engineers are not responsible after 10 years for anything they did. As a matter of fact, at that point, they were good practices, as you call them. They didn't understand stormwater and so forth back in the 80s and even the 90s. It's a problem that we cannot solve for everybody, no matter how much money we had. The logical way is to work on the health and safety and the legal part of it, that you cannot have sewers backing up. And if we can do that part at this point and then work on the future in solving the flooding problems for individuals, add the worst ones and down the line, it's the best way to go in the long run. It's the most common sense way to go. If I had 20 million bucks, I would be happy to give it to the city and say, fix it all so I don't get any more calls. We don't have that kind of money. We would be putting ourselves in a position not knowing what our state is going to do in the next couple of years. We may have to dip and dip and dip for a while. We don't know. We have to take things as we need to and fix them. That's all I can say.
With all due respect, Mr. Shockey, I just want you to be aware that I am the lowest area on the street, and we are 353, 359. You cannot possibly have a swale in someone's yard to take everybody's water, not only from my street, but from the level. If you come and look in my yard, the Patels, which is the family directly behind me, they are significantly higher than my property. So I just want you to understand, sir, that there is a swale in my yard that takes everybody's water going into a pipe that is this big. I mean, it doesn't even make sense that should work. I can't even imagine that anybody, you don't even have to be an engineer to know that you cannot possibly take blocks of water and from everybody's yard going into one person's yard, into a swale, into a 4-inch pipe. It just, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm just telling you that it's not, you know, if it just stayed in my yard, I would be fine with that. But it is like a river, you know, when you go white water rafting, that's what it looks like when it has no place else to go between my home and their home. It's a surge. It's not just a little, you know, up to your ankles. It's high, it's to the knees, and it is flowing. It can probably knock people over. So I just want you to be aware of what that water is doing and what it's supposed to be going into, which is a 4-inch pipe. Thank you.
Alderman Winger.
Why is there only a 4-inch pipe? Is that the way the developer developed the land, or is that a city pipe? What is that?
No, they put that in the original plan. That pipe was, the overflows were intended to go over land between the houses. The 4-inch pipe was never intended to carry the major rainstorms. I don't think anyone ever thought that that would be the case. It was just meant to, you know, eventually dry out the area and not have pockets of standing water long term. But it was that area, you know, that swale between the houses was supposed to convey that water, and it's just, I mean, it's not happening. There's just not enough space. There's not enough grade difference. But the 4-inch, I don't think anyone was under the delusion that the 4-inch pipe was going to carry all that water through.
Okay.
But you know, why they did that, I don't know. I mean, we would never, you know, our minimum pipes would probably be, you know, 8-inch now. We probably wouldn't put a 4 in, you know, for anything like that now.
Okay, so, and I believe I know the answer, but I gotta ask the question. Could it be as simple as at least putting in another drain to help alleviate some of it, or no?
Well, I mean, this is what these design alternatives look at, is putting in larger storm drains.
Yeah, but there's multiple layers of work on
Yeah, it's
that.
bigger, and then there's more inlets also attached to it. Yeah, but I mean, that is what we're talking about here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second on the floor. Let's call the roll.
I got a question.
Alderman Roy Wesley.
The motion is, repeat the motion again?
To continue to direct staff to investigate what can be done to alleviate, if only temporary, the sanitary issue and table the decision on whether or not to proceed with any of the 4 options presented regarding stormwater corrections.
Is that just this project, table this project?
Alderman Shockey,
Yes.
Alderman Winger,
Yes,
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
No.
Alderman Cadella,
Yes.
Alderman Police,
Yes.
Alderman Coles,
No.
Alderman Roy Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Lewitton.
No.
That carries. 5-3, right? Yeah. All right, since we got that, let's go Windsor then. Any discussion on Windsor? Staff, discussion on Windsor? It's gonna be the same shot now.
Staff was asked to follow up with the engineer's recommendation for Windsor Catalpa drainage and develop an in-house price for doing that project. We took some time in contacting a couple different resources and gaining these numbers. We decided to leave the lift station amount the same, but otherwise, pretty much you can see the breakout that I've laid out in front of you. And if there's any questions, I can take those now in relationship to that.
Any question on that one? Alderman Roy Wesley.
Make a motion to table.
Motion at the table, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Table overrules, no further discussion. Motion carries. All right. No. Roll call table. All in favor of table?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's tabled. Then the next item on the list, item number 6, approve engineer list. In your packet, you received a list of the engineers that could do work in our community. Did everyone look at the engineer list? Does anyone have any concerns? Any concerns on the engineer list?
Yes. Thank you.
Alderman Winger.
Okay, I noticed that just recently we had a construction firm here looking to design Thorndale Quarter, and they're not on this list yet they were here about a year ago. It's white construction is what I'd like to see added. I'm not sure why it's not on here, but
White or
white.
okay.
We can contact them and see if they would like to be added to the list. I was not aware of anyone.
That's the first one that we have ever, I mean, that's fine, we'll add them on the list.
Okay.
Any other one?
We've approved consultants for our work for up at the Thorndale corridor,
They're right here.
and I know, but I'd like to have, are you talking about future items?
No, I'm trying to get the engineer list approved first.
Oh, okay. When we get to future items, I'd like to
Okay.
talk about it.
So we have, anyone else want to add anyone else on the, or strike anyone off this list? Okay. I'll obtain motion approved, the engineer list and adding white or right?
White.
Direct staff to go out. We don't have to go out for RFQ for this, do we? No, because it's just a list, right? No. Because it's just a list. We approve it. These people already have RFQ.
Yeah, I think the intent of this list is people who have either done work here before or we've interviewed them before and gotten statements of qualifications from them. So all of these firms we're familiar with. We've, again, either worked with them or we've interviewed them for projects. We haven't just taken anyone that
Right.
we haven't dealt with before.
Okay. Alderman Roy Wesley.
The list here, when does it come back up for review again? Does it come up 6 months, a year? When does this council look at it again?
I guess we could review it every year if you want.
Well, do we have a policy of that?
No, we
or
don't.
Should we make a policy of that? That the,
Future items, we could discuss that. Let's get this list approved before we can get some projects going.
okay.
Mayor Johnson.
Thank you. Just to clarify your motion so the minute taker, so we can understand what we did at a future date. If I understand you correctly, you're adding to the approved list SEC, Walter Deutschler, Strand Associates, Crawford, RGN, and White. Is that what the motion is?
I believe we already added those people to the list.
Well, it's confusing when you go to the approved list then, and
Okay.
some are on and some are,
All right, Mayor, that is what I'm.
I think that's your intent.
Yes, that is my intent.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Items to be considered at future meeting. Brush pickup to be discussed during the budget process. Agreement basin under new pavement. Solar power lights, stormwater solutions. Almond Shark. Any other items? Almond Shark.
Yeah, we have made contracts, I believe, with the company, for instance, the company that's working on the Thorndale corridor. And at the time, I was wondering why we had to do all 3 steps this year. Now I think we have an even much bigger reason not to do all 3 steps, but to back off, and I'd like to know if staff can include that in their new budget and perhaps delay the second and third step to another year.
Well, I don't believe that will fall in my committee. I believe that will fall in the building and zoning committee because that's under theirs. It ain't public works.
Oh, whichever, if it goes finance or wherever, we need to look at that. That's. So, Mr. Mayor, if you can make sure that gets
John
on the
said he'll put it
correct
on.
committee.
John said he'll
Oh,
put it on.
okay, fine, thank you.
Alderman Roy Wesley.
I have a question. The stuff that we just tabled tonight, I take it that we're keeping a list of that when we want to discuss this, as soon as we find out the budget, that these projects will come up first,
Right after we get the,
as soon as we get the budget, because I'd like to keep a list of first priorities, which ones we're going through first. One more question. We have the brush pickup for future items to talk about for budget time. The contract starts in April. Do we have the right to cancel that contract?
Mr.
After speaking with Attorney Bond, we have 90 days to inform them, and that's what, we can cancel at any time, but within, they have 90 days to respond, so they would have 90 days worth of work if we canceled it after the end of April. That's when the contract is due to begin for this next session.
So if it starts April 1st, it's 90 days from April 1st.
If we notify them, correct.
In that case, I'd like,
Not on the agenda.
you know, we've been talking about this brush pickup. I'm kind of upset that we're coming to the season now, and now we're talking at a budget item, and it's 90 days. And I think it's a disgrace that, that we're talking about it this late in the game, when we knew we had this contract in April.
Alderman Joe Coles.
I'd like to, Wally, do you want these white books, or do we still take them? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Any other items? Put on the agenda? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.